Okay, let's talk about something no homeowner ever wants to face: water damage. It's pure chaos, right? It's stressful, it's destructive, but what if you had a clear playbook? In this explainer, we're going to cut right through the panic and turn that chaos into a step-by-step plan. We're going to use the same framework the pros use to get you from disaster all the way to recovery. So let's start with that moment it all goes wrong.
Just picture it. It's the middle of the night. You're dead asleep, and then you hear that sound, that dreaded gushing sound. Maybe a pipe burst, maybe the water heater finally gave up. In that moment of pure shock, do you know the first, second, and third thing you absolutely have to do? Because in a situation like this, the stakes honestly couldn't be any higher. And here's why. The second that water shows up, a clock starts ticking. Literally. Every single minute you wait, that water's on the move. It's seeping into drywall, it's soaking into the subfloor, it's finding every little crack it can. The moves you make in those first few minutes, they can be the difference between a manageable cleanup and a catastrophic, wallet-draining reconstruction project.
So this brings us to our first section. The most critical window of time in any water emergency is those first 48 hours. And this isn't just about the puddle you can see. It's about stopping what comes next, what the pros call secondary damage.
And that brings us to the most critical number you need to remember: 24 to 48 hours. That's it. That is your entire window before mold can start to grow on damp surfaces. That wet drywall or soaked carpet isn't just wet anymore. It's a ticking time bomb. It's basically a welcome mat for a much more serious and unhealthy problem to take root right inside your home.
So how does this all even start? Well, a lot of times, it's not just one single thing that fails. It's often a combination of factors, all related to your home's structure and the environment right outside your door. Let's take a look at the usual suspects.
You know, for a lot of homeowners, especially in places with heavy clay soil, the ground itself is kind of working against you. That soil holds on to water, pushing it against your foundation. Then you combine that with freeze-thaw cycles that create tiny cracks and boom, water has a direct path inside. And that's before we even get to aging pipes, a sump pump from the 70s, or something as simple as a washing machine hose deciding to give up. You can see how vulnerable a house really is.
And this really gets to the science behind why so many basements flood. The key concept here is something called hydrostatic pressure. It sounds really technical, but all it means is the weight of all that water in the soil just relentlessly pushing against your foundation walls. It doesn't need a huge hole. This pressure can force water through the tiniest, almost invisible cracks and turn your basement into a swimming pool.
Okay, so the worst has happened. What does the professional response actually look like? I'll tell you this. It's a lot more than just shop vacs and box fans. It's a systematic, scientific process designed to get control of the chaos and stop long-term damage in its tracks.
So first, let's clear up two key terms you're going to hear: remediation and restoration. Think of remediation as the emergency room visit. It's the first response. They come in, they stop the leak, they extract the water, and they start drying everything to stop the damage from getting any worse. Restoration, though, is the whole journey. It includes all that emergency work, plus all the repairs and rebuilding needed to bring your home back to exactly how it was before.
The professional process follows this really clear, logical path. It always starts with assessment and extraction, figuring out what's going on and getting that standing water out as fast as possible. From there, it moves into the most critical part, the drying phase, using industrial-strength equipment to get rid of hidden moisture. And only then, when everything is confirmed to be dry, does the final restoration phase begin.
And this, right here, is why professional help is so important. Just because a wall feels dry to the touch doesn't mean it actually is dry. The real danger is always the water you can't see. Professionals use tools like thermal imaging cameras to actually find moisture trapped deep inside wall cavities or underneath your flooring, which are the exact places that mold absolutely loves to grow.
You know, this isn't just guesswork. The entire restoration industry operates on a set of scientific standards that spell out exactly how to handle different types of water damage safely and, more importantly, effectively.
Basically, the whole industry follows a rule book called the IICRC S500. This is the gold standard. It lays out the proven scientific methods for everything, from where you should place drying equipment to the safety protocols for dealing with contaminated water. This isn't just jargon. Following this standard is what separates a professional job from a quick patch-up, and it's what your insurance company is going to expect. Now, a huge part of that standard comes down to one simple question. What kind of water are we dealing with? It gets broken down into 3 categories. Category 1 is clean water, like from a burst supply line.
Category 2, what they call gray water, has some contaminants in it. Think of a dishwasher overflow. But Category 3, black water, is the real danger. We're talking about sewage backups or floodwaters. It's grossly contaminated and requires a whole different level of caution.
So, knowing all this, what does that road to recovery actually look like for you? Let's walk through the final stages and, most importantly, the key things you really need to remember.
Okay, so the drying phase is not a one-day event. It typically takes anywhere from 3 to 7 days of continuous work. After they get the standing water out, the pros will set up all their equipment, and then they'll come back every single day to monitor moisture levels, adjusting things as they go, until their meters confirm the structure is completely dry. This is a phase you just cannot rush. If you do, you're just asking for problems down the road.
All right, let's boil all of this down to the absolute essentials. First, that 48-hour clock is real, so you have to act fast. Second, take photos of everything. Your phone is your best friend when it comes to insurance claims. Third, understand that the source of the water, its category, determines the entire cleanup strategy. And finally, and this is the most important one, never ever try to handle a Category 3 black water situation yourself. It's a serious health risk that requires professional gear and expertise.
We'll end on this thought. Your home is probably the single biggest investment you will ever make. Knowing the science behind water damage and the process for recovery isn't just interesting trivia. It's essential knowledge you need to protect that investment. So the real question is, when that 2 a.m. emergency finally happens, is your plan ready?